You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
My knowledge of 1970s crime dramas is almost as good as it is for Roth conversions. So I may have to educate young Will on Beretta, Cannon, and the ever suave Mannix. You kids do not know what you're missing.
That might be a little bit past my time.
Yeah, only a 7 to 10 decades. Oh, yeah. Boy. Well, listen, it's nice to have the young people around, but then you realize how darn old you are when they are around. It's like, hey, have you ever heard of Kenny Loggins? Kenny who? Okay. Retirement Income Empowerment Workshop coming up, right? The lifeblood of retirement is income. You need growth, of course, but income. And this is an art as well as a science. We're going to have strategies for secure, tax-effective, inflation-protected retirement income. But this is an in-person event. Saturday, June 14th, 9 a.m. at the Hyatt Centric in the Woodlands. You register at realinvestmentadvice.com. I will tell you, I am actually amazed at the reception we've gotten so far because this is a popular topic. See, Will, you're in the accumulation stage and that's where a lot of advisors focus is how to save money, how to save in taxes, how to save for college, how to invest here and there. But what's very important for advisors to know today, especially young ones like yourself, is how to decumulate. We all learn accumulation, but we don't understand or care to know decumulation when we are trying to create the retirement paycheck. And I don't care if you're 40 or you're 60, you're going to want to prepare. Now, if I'm 40, 45 years old, I am preparing, even if I figure I'm going to retire at 70, I am going to figure out what that decumulation is look like, and that what impacts that is how I'm investing today. Will, the old story has been put all your money in pre-tax accounts because they are the best thing since sliced bread. And when people retire, that's all where their money is. Therefore, they have no tax control. So what we try to help people do is understand the value of having an income farm with a lot of different animals on that farm that are going to produce sustenance for us. Yes, some money in pre-tax is great, but also having some money in tax-free and brokerage is also great. So we try to help clients what we call diversify their accounts. And when they need to cobble together what that's going to income is going to be, including their Social Security and or pension, whoever's got those anymore, they understand where they're going to fall within a tax bracket. And if they're going to say they retire, say before respectively their required minimum distribution age of 73 or 75, like it is for me, like I'm going to live that long. I hope not. It's too old. Don't want to be there for that. I am going to look at if I'm going to retire at 61 years old, let's say, and I have until age 75 for my RMD. What do you think maybe, young Will, I should be looking at if all my money has been stockpiled in pre-tax accounts? And you all learned this, which I was very impressed with A&M. You learned, I will tell you what I'm impressed about is there are advisors out there who don't go into the dust bunnies. The dust bunnies of Social Security and Medicare. In other words, if they don't want to talk about the topic, they don't talk about it. But you all really embrace that. You learn all about all those retirement income strategies and maximization of Social Security. It was very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, A&M does a great job with that. I mean, we have a whole class just for retirement. And so, I mean, they teach us all the different strategies, the different ways. One thing that we learned this year in my investment planning class and also my insurance class is a lot of the struggle with, you're accumulating all this money for retirement, and a hard part is getting clients to spend the money. I mean, they accumulate it all and then they have it and they'll have a pretty high net worth, but then suddenly they're like, I'm scared of running out of money. And, all these advisors are.
That's true.
And they're just struggling to get them to spend it and enjoy their retirement.
Why do you think that is? What makes you understand that is a psychological hurdle? I have a client who she won't let her husband have a sandwich every month. He wants to buy like a sandwich for himself, and she's like, we can't do it. We can't afford it. That's a little extreme, but what I'm saying is there is this underspending problem generally as far as overspending. But why do you think that that's the case?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all goes back to how you grew up. I mean, if you're someone that grew up with money, you never had to worry about, where a meal was coming from, or if your cell phone was turned off, then you're going to have no problem spending that money once you're older. But, I grew up in a relatively lower income household where, my grandma, for example, she grew up broke broke as could be. And so now, even though she's doing okay, she's afraid. She goes out to buy a new car and she's like, I don't know if I can afford this. And we're all like, it's a Kia, Meemaw. I think you can manage. So yeah, I mean, I think it all just kind of wraps back to that. And again, there's some people, I mean, depending when you grew up, their parents may have grown up in the Great Depression and now suddenly they're worried that any moment they could lose everything and not be able to provide some food. So
That's true.
I think it all just kind of goes back to how you grew up and what your life experiences have been like.
There are white papers that talk about or reference, and I did in my book, about the Great Depression mindset that also, in some degree, was also the Great Recession mindset as well. And it's very tough to break that. We call that the money script, those subconscious triggers that are very tough to change. Matter of fact, I wish some people today had a little bit of that, as opposed to fear of missing out and living for today and all that stuff, to always pay yourself first. That is the best rule I think we have for every young investor who comes in. We give them two really big pieces of investment because there is a financial hierarchy of how you save. But the first thing we say is pay yourself first. Now, we'll worry about where the vehicle is later. Is it going to be, we make sure we have an emergency reserve, whatever it is. But we always want to know that you're going to set aside a certain amount of percentage of your paycheck and you're not going to miss it. You got to get that muscle built and in shape now, and that will stay with you for the rest of your life. In addition to that is, where do we invest? Met with a young gentleman a couple of weeks ago, and he's starting a new job, and they have advisors there that help because it's a big company, and the advisors are right away telling him to go ahead and start his pre-tax savings. And I'm like, no. Based on where your income is now, and you are going to be an earnings machine, you should be in Roth first. Roth first. So he took my advice, but it's amazing how some of the old advice in financial services never changes. By the time he's 40, 45, if he keeps this up, and he say he is now going into his peak earning years, guess what he could do? Now, he can go ahead and look at pre-tax and manage it there, but he has already built up a nice nest egg in Roth. So when he retires, he'll be able to manage his taxes in retirement. And you don't fall into the lowest tax bracket as much as you're told. What we were told in the 90s, that happened then, but very few clients will fall into that because of why? The backdoor taxes on Social Security, right? We have provisional income that looks at base amounts of, depending on where you're filing single or you're filing jointly, where either 50 cents on the dollar or 85 cents, your marginal tax rate could be a lot higher than you think because you're not looking at those backdoor taxes like Social Security and IRMA charges on your Medicare Part B and D. So you've got to be aware of, just as important as the investments you select, It's the structures and the foundations you put in place. And one of those things, if I'm in my 40s or my 50s, or say I've retired at 60, then Roth conversions can fit very, very well in the plan. So when the market was coming down, Danny and I and a lot of the other advisors, we were very aggressive in having clients that we know set up a Roth conversion schedule. They were very aggressive to now move the money. Okay, I want to move money from my IRA. I am retired. I'm in a sort of lower marginal rate. I may not be in the 24% bracket anymore. I fall in a bracket. I want to, since the market's down, I want to move money. I want to move money from my IRA into my Roth when prices are depressed. And then what do I want? I want that appreciation when the market recovers in my Roth. So you're also looking at conversions that are taxable, obviously, in a year where relatively low tax rates can be advantageous. Now, we're going to talk about Roth. And again, the way Danny all falls in love over HSAs, I'm like that with Roth. He's a little bit HSA. I'm a little bit Roth. That's just to get Brent going for this morning. That was Donnie and Marie. Will, you don't even know who they are, but
No, I do not. Y'all are gonna have to teach me some of this
we're
stuff.
gonna, Brent and I are gonna give you a really good education on how Cannon, even though he was 50 pounds overweight, could catch a criminal that's 7 blocks ahead of him by running. All of a sudden, he's right on top of the guy. How does that happen? We'll be right back.
The Real Investment Advice blog. It's required reading for the informed investor. Catch it today at realinvestmentadvice.com.
How confident are you in your retirement income strategy? Join RIA for a powerful in-person workshop designed to help you build a sustainable, tax-efficient income plan for retirement. Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff host the RIA Retirement Income Empowerment Workshop, Saturday, June 14th at the Hyatt Centric in the Woodlands. Learn how to protect your nest egg, optimize Social Security, reduce taxes, and create income that lasts. Register now for the RIA Retirement Income Empowerment Workshop with Ratliff and Rosso at realinvestmentadvice.com.
If you're working and looking to retire soon, a Medicare special enrollment period is in your future. Understanding Medicare choices, enrollment deadlines, and costs are essential to your overall standard of living in retirement. The wrong choices can cost you thousands in penalties. Make sense of Medicare's alphabet soup with RIA advisors, online resources, and one-on-one partners to help secure the healthcare insurance choice that is right for your lifestyle and budget and avoid gaps in coverage. Click on the insurance tab at realinvestmentadvice.com today. realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Are you a financial advisor sneaking peeks at our stuff? Instead of trying to do it all yourself, why not just join the team at RIA Advisors? Our full-service organization can provide you with the support, unparalleled research, and tools for managing your clients' money and honoring the fiduciary pledge of putting clients' best interest first. Don't take our word for it. Talk to the advisors that work with us. Want to come win with us? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors, big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
Can't catch the whole show now? Listen to our podcast later at realinvestmentadvice.com.
Retirement looks a lot different now than what it did many years ago. It's just maybe working less. Still want to contribute and be active in the community.
And
Absolutely.
Plus, when you're 70 and you can make TikTok channels and make money off of it.
The Real Investment Show podcast.
Is that what you're going to do?
I've already started it.
Oh, okay.
It's OnlyFans for old people.
Oh, my goodness.
At realinvestmentadvice.com.
Want to see my feet?
I'm out.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. Bulls win in bull markets. Bears win in bear markets. Eagles soar above and take advantage of opportunity. Let us help you soar as you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show.
Attention Chevron employees and anyone else receiving or considering a company severance package. We know the process can be intimidating. What should you know to maximize your payout? Lump sum or pension annuity, retirement plan rollover or not? What about tax timing your severance? The fiduciary advisors at RIA Advisors can help you make the best decisions for your situation. Call us today at 855-742-7526. That's 855-742-PLAN or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
The Real Investment Show YouTube channel has all our videos ready for your easy access. Now with the new and improved Before the Bell report. Subscribe and bookmark our YouTube channel at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
So Will brought up something really important before we continue. It's along the lines of this Roth conversion, but this underspending in retirement. And part of it is your money script or who you are and subconsciously what you've learned about money. And also cycles that you've gone through, I think, are really important. But something else. If my accounts are, for the most part, variable assets, stocks and bonds, then there's a lot of unknown psychologically for a retiree because it's not a set factor where I'm getting a check every month and I know I can't run out of money. I'm going to fear that I am, especially, say, for example, in that recent market downturn we've had, and clients were calling and asking, am I still okay? Am I doing the right things? Well, if you are here, you're doing the right things. The fact that you're questioning during this period is you worry about your money. And a lot of advisors will say, don't worry about your money, Mr. Jones. I'll worry about it. That's a bunch of crap. You need to worry. It is your money. You need to ask questions. So during the downturn, we got that question a lot, and we were like saying, no, you're fine. Your plan is fine. You don't have to cut your vacation. You don't have to cut your monthly paycheck. But you see, when markets go down, Will, people feel they have to retrench, even though in the course of their retirement income cycle, they don't have to. So there is an underspending problem. We use an income program to tackle that problem of people underspending because they're riding the wave of variable assets. Now, David Blanchett did a study which makes just absolute common sense. If most of my income is guaranteed, or my baseline of income, what I need to meet my non-variable expenses, my fixed expenses, if those are covered by Social Security and or a pension or an annuity structure, I know I'm going to get a check every month. If in January I get a check for $4,000 and I spend it, I don't care that I overspent because next month another check is coming in. But there's always that unknown with retirement income, which is why we help clients set up guardrails. We look at the middle lane of what they can take, and if the portfolio hits a trigger on the upside, you can give yourself a raise. If it hits it on the downside, you have to maybe cut back. But let's stress test this stuff. Let's stress test your withdrawal rate through the Great Depression, the Great Recession, stagflation. Let's run it through the financial ringer and figure it out and give you the confidence to spend more if you want to. That's part of planning and knowledge that maybe can help clients say, will overcome their underspending issue. Now, if it's more deeply psychological, like you were saying about your grandma, and my grandparents had the same issue. Cannot tell you how much one Tupperware dish held all different things at one time, or, like I think that was part of the legacy asset, was a yellow Cool Whip dish tub, because we never threw away anything. We didn't throw away aluminum foil. We didn't throw away plastic bags. Nothing. Everything got used, and it got used multiple times. Grandma would say, "You got a little gift in your Cracker Jack. You get a little prize. Now, here's what you're going to do, because the cousin's coming over. You're going to now eat just a little bit, not the whole box, and then you're going to put the gift back in the box for your cousin." We even recycled Cracker Jack gifts. So this is a little extreme, but understand this is all part of the retirement income strategy. So if I have money in Roth, going back to our Roth conversion, first of all, I never have to worry about an RMD. There are no such thing with Roth. That's a great thing. The money that comes out of that account is completely tax-free. It is not subject to IRMA. It's not subject to Social Security taxation. It is a dollar that I have, a full dollar. And studies have been out there, and Wall Street hates these studies, that show that even if you are in the lowest tax bracket or the marginal bracket in retirement, that Roth is still better than pre-tax. We don't hear a lot about that. So I think Roth can also help with your underspending problem, because if I'm taking out, if I take $1,000 out of my pre-tax, well, I probably took $1,400, right? Because I withheld taxes. If I take $1,000, so I'm going to get, I'm seeing my account deteriorate more rapidly just for that $1,000. Otherwise, I just have that $1,000, and I might decide that that's great, and I'm able to spend that. That gives me more bandwidth. So Roth conversions, say even, for example, and I do not believe the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is going to get through. I do think it's going to sunset. I know I'm the pessimist and I'm a jerk and all this, but I don't see it. I think there's going to be a lot of dissension, and this big, beautiful bill, is sort of going to look like Brent in a dress and a mustache. It's not going to be beautiful at all. So I think that we still need to prepare clients for the sunset of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. But even if, say, for example, the marginal rates go back to where they were, you will still be able to surgically convert over time when you retire, before you retire required minimum distribution. Now, say, Rich, but I'm 40 years old, and, I do have a big IRA, but I make a lot of money. I don't want to convert. That's okay. That's okay. Well, guess what you can do? You can go ahead and turn off that pre-tax retirement defined contribution plan like your 401k and turn it to Roth. Now, during the Secure Act, as we call the Rothification Act, the government is J.G. Wentworth. They need their money now. So Danny and I would always get hit with questions like, oh my gosh, what if they take away the Roth? What if the Roth, Listen, that's the tiny, tiny calf. The fatted calf is your pre-tax accounts. For decades, we've been putting money in. The government is finding ways to tackle that money now. How have they done it? Well, if I put my daughter on my IRA, my pre-tax IRA, she is going to have to take that money out over a 10-year period. She used to be able to take it out over her life expectancy. She's 25, but that's not going to work anymore. So what should I do? I should convert my IRA to Roth, make her the beneficiary, and yes, she still will have the same rules. But if I'm not in required minimum distribution, she can wait till year 10. She doesn't have to wait. Let all that money grow in the Roth, and then it'll come out like a big tax-free gift, right? So the traditional IRA has become worse as a legacy tool for your non-spouses compared to Roth. So to me, Roth is always a good idea. Did you talk about some of the benefits of Roth versus traditional in the program?
Yeah, so we've talked a little bit about that in investment planning, retirement planning this next semester. I have a feeling we're really going to hammer that in.
I think so too.
I've been really impressed. I've been here. This is my third week, I believe, and I mean, just the way that y'all can go and configure everything for someone's plan and all the different elements that y'all put into it. And like you said, when are we going to convert this and deciding that? And it always seems that you'll find the most efficient way to do it. And then even to go back to what you were saying earlier about just the stress test y'all do. I mean, I watch as y'all put, 2% returns over, a 20, 30 year lifespan or plan span. And then it's like still 99% confidence. I think that, I see that. I'm like, wow, like that is really impressive. We played around with Money Guy Pro back this past semester. And I feel like a lot of times to get some of those plans to work, you had to get it like 6, 7, 8% just to get, where you want confidence wise. So,
right. And the thing is, if a client needs 7 or 8%, there's a problem because the return is a soup. It's a mixture. It's not just what you could do for them. It's what they can do for them, because that's telling me you have too much debt. You're not saving enough. You're not going to work long enough. You have your heady goals. We have to use the plan to set client expectations. So sometimes, because we look at forward-looking returns, we just don't take the software out of the box. So we think of, a 60-40, just a balanced portfolio is probably going to give you close to 4%. That's your hurdle rate. Well, if your hurdle rate comes in at 8 or 9, there's only so much we can do. Now, what are you going to do? And that's a tough conversation psychologically for a planner to have with a client, that you're using the stock market to bail you out at record high valuations, and that's not feasible. You have to go ahead and do some things where this is a partnership and we're trying to make your financial situation better. So we're not going to come at you negatively. We're going to come at you as you can do it. Here's what you need to do. And sometimes those are not big changes.
You got to work together.
That's right. Got to work together. Everybody's plan is a living, breathing document, and it changes. So Roth conversions will not only fit into your 2025 plan, it'll fit in your 26, 27, 28. You get the picture. Always consider Roth, and don't listen to those old Wall Street guys who don't believe in any change. It's working. Why change it? No, we have to change it. We need to stay abreast of things as advisors. Keep an open mind. Free your mind, Neo. We'll be back.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet at realinvestmentadvice.com.
How confident are you in your retirement income strategy? Join RIA for a powerful in-person workshop designed to help you build a sustainable, tax-efficient income plan for retirement. Richard Rosso and Danny Ratliff host the RIA Retirement Income Empowerment Workshop, Saturday, June 14th at the Hyatt Centric in the Woodlands. Learn how to protect your nest egg, optimize Social Security, reduce taxes, and create income that lasts. Register now for the RIA Retirement Income Empowerment Workshop with Ratliff and Rosso at realinvestmentadvice.com.
RIA Advisors Research is the envy of the industry. Our economic insights are featured on advisorperspectives.com, Fox Business, and MarketWatch. RIA provides advisors with marketing and back office support, objective research, and holistic, cutting-edge financial planning tools to meet your clients' needs. Want to join a winning team and be part of a fiduciary culture where you can do your best work? Then why haven't you contacted us yet? Go to our confidential advisor hub at realinvestmentadvice.com. RIA Advisors. Big enough where it matters, agile enough when it counts.
The Real Investment Show.
Attention Chevron employees and anyone else receiving or considering a company severance package. We know the process can be intimidating. What should you know to maximize your payout? Lump sum or pension annuity, retirement plan rollover or not? What about tax timing your severance? The fiduciary advisors at RIA Advisors can help you make the best decisions for your situation. Call us today at 855-742-7526. That's 855-742-PLAN. plan or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
And now, another page from the Real Investment Advisors Investing Manifesto. A passive investment portfolio requires active risk management. It's not a choice, it's necessity. Diversification doesn't protect against risk of loss. Let us actively help you reach your financial goals with RIA Advisors. Neither bull nor bear. RIA Advisors, 281-501-1791 or online at realinvestmentadvice.com.
You're listening to The Real Investment Show.
Futures have recovered a little bit. Dow futures are off 22, S&P 5, NASDAQ 11. We are all anxiously awaiting that fresh inflation data. PCE, fresh out of the oven. Poppin' fresh. I think that's what the P stands for in PCE. Poppin'. We hope it's not poppin', though. We hope it's below consensus. That would be good. Because we've got a lot of inflation mongering, a lot of fear mongering over inflation. When we had 9% inflation, it seems like everybody was like, okay, no, that's when the Fed came out and said, oh, well, inflation? What are you talking about? That's transitory. It's in your mind. I think AOC came out and said inflation is in your mind. It's in your mind, the inflation, along with my garbage disposal. What is that thing? It makes noises at me, like my boyfriend. But what it is we're going to see. Now, Goldman had a really pretty decent report saying how you thinking that these tariffs are inflationary, that's a bunch of bunk. They're probably not going to be. And all credit to Michael Leibowitz. He wrote that weeks ago. Goldman, you're all way behind the curve. Okay? So keep that in mind. So one of the things we try to help people with retirement income and Social Security, it's not going to be here. It's going to be here. Trust me. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of people living on Lance's lawn. He won't like it. He'll be the first behind this new Social Security legislation. But we need some tweaking. We need some tweaking done. Now, especially if, for example, we don't want to tax Social Security. And I will tell you, there's something called the tax torpedo, and that's where we have retirees who do get hit by 50 cents to 85 cents on the dollar. And that hits a lot of middle income Americans more than anybody else. So they would benefit greatly from not paying taxes on Social Security, but it does cut the trust fund by about 6 years. But we can work it out. Because if you're a senior and you're having a tough time and say Social Security is making up at least 50% of your income, it would be nice if it wasn't taxed. And those base amounts have never been inflation indexed, which is a problem. I don't think they've been indexed. I think when they came out in 83, I don't remember them being indexed at all. So those brackets are pretty onerous. So that's why a lot of people get hit with taxes on Social Security. And they don't even know it half the time. So we need to make some tweaks. But a recent study from the Center for Retirement Research says that people are waiting a little bit longer to take Social Security. On average, just a couple of years, right? A lot of people claim early, which is a big mistake, generally speaking, unless you need the money. You need the money. I totally get it. You're going to take it early. You have no spouse that you have to worry about. Maybe you have an illness, God forbid. We get that. You need to put food on the table. All fine. But when it comes to having a spouse, and especially a spouse who maybe has not paid in as much as you have, then you are making a decision for both of you. You are telling your spouse that, I don't really care once I'm gone. Who cares about your survivor benefit? Well, we don't look at it that way, right? There's practicality to your situation. And Social Security will probably be the only guaranteed retirement income you have that's inflation indexed, at least. We have to make sure that your non-working spouse or your spouse that hasn't paid in as much is taking care if something happens to you. So maybe it's not about you. It's not all about you, Brent. It's about the misses. What kind of survivor benefit? Brent says, I'm not going to die. I'm just going to disappear. It's the same thing. She'll still get the benefit. It's called the disappearing Social Security benefit. When your spouse disappears. Where is he? On an island. It's okay. He's gone. Well, we need to make sure both parties are covered. And guaranteed income in retirement, I will tell you, is nirvana. All right, as much as you love stocks, and we love them too, and yes, we got to keep up with inflation, it's nice to know that I've got a certain amount of money that's going to come in, and I'm going to maximize that. And listen, I had a client the other day. We looked at his estimate. He's going to get like $6,000 a month by waiting to age 70. That's not chump change. $6,000 a month, and his wife's going to get half his full retirement age spousal benefit, which I think was close to the $1,800. So the point I'm making is, right away, I've got 70 grand coming in to my household because I decided to wait. I'm a healthy 70-year-old. My wife is 56 years old. Obviously, she's going to outlive me, we hope. And I want to make sure she's going to get my higher survivor benefit when I'm gone. So it's not just your choice. What if you have young children? And believe me, there are a lot of 60-year-olds married to 35-year-olds that are having babies. What's his name just got engaged? Who's the guy? Bill Belichick with his 24-year-old girlfriend.
Oh, I didn't even know he got engaged.
Yeah, they got engaged. I'm sure it's a labor of love. I would love her too. But I'm saying that, what if she says, Bill, wake up, Bill. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. How many naps you going to take today? We got to go out. We got stuff to do. I want a baby. You want a what? I want a baby. Okay. Now what? Now I got to prepare right for Social Security. Well, though Bill Belichick would have already been on Social Security. What am I talking about?
He may have been on it for a while.
He might have been on it for Will's right.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm making him younger than he is.
A lot of people, and a lot of people think that they're gonna, lose out on money by waiting, and they don't realize you wait that extra 2 to 3 years. In 12 more years after that, you've made your money back and then some. So a lot of people forget that, and then back to the spousal benefits. I mean, I know some people. Danny sent me over a client the other day who was worried they were going to hit their family maximum with his benefits, and then his wife receiving 50% of those benefits, not realizing that the family maximum only applies if there's 3 members involved in it. So
it's
a lot
those
of
nuances,
people,
though, right?
Yes, there's so many moving parts to it.
But you bring up a great point because a lot of people don't realize what that family maximum is. They think it's just the 2 of them. They're going to hit that family maximum. So it's definitely worth it. It's great that you, explain that. So obviously, that kind of coordination of benefit is important. I don't even like how the software puts the break even of Social Security in it, because I think you have to train people to look at Social Security differently. And people are going to hate when I say this. It is not a break even asset. It's not designed for that. It's designed to be longevity risk insurance. It's risk mitigation. Your Social Security is designed to say that if you live longer than what the mortality tables say, I've got a guaranteed income check cost adjusted for inflation. But then I get people that'll always say to me, well, I know exactly when I'm going to die. I know the month, I know the year, I know the time. How do you know? What if you live? If you're dead, you're not going to care. Are you going to come back and go, break even, break even, I didn't make the break even. Woo. Are you going to be one of those ghosts that are upset over your break even number? Or are you going to say, I need as much income as possible when my head's in the Cheerios in the nursing home, and I want to make sure this nurse gets paid to pull my head out? Although my face in Cheerios this morning doesn't sound like a bad idea. So I think you have to look at it unemotionally. Realize it's not practical for the program to go away. As much as we say, oh, yeah, by 2034, 2035, 20% of the benefits are going to be cut. There's a lot we can do up till that point. And it's not a lot that needs to be done. No one has the political will to do it, but there's someone is going to have to step up and fortify it. It's just the way it is. Because you'll have a lot of people who will not be able to live. And you want to see pitchforks and like the end of Frankenstein, you go ahead and take Social Security away. You'll find that. And then people think, to your point, Will, if they take it sooner, the government can't take it away. Well, why can't they? Why do you have something special? You're giving yourself your own 20%. So what you're telling me, I'm going to give myself, if I take Social Security early, I'm going to give myself a 20% haircut. Nah, I'm going to spite my nose. Guess what, government? I'm going to give myself a 20% cut before you do it. There. Nah. Right? And that's what you're doing. And you're giving your spouse a permanent cut. Because you're worried about the break even. There's nothing that I have read that says, well, if you've already taken Social Security, we can't cut your benefit. The government could do whatever the heck it wants. So therefore, you got to look at that planning unemotionally and make sure you're getting the most out of the program. For you, and so again, people will say to me, well, I'm not going to live that long, but you're not looking at joint life expectancy. You're looking at your life expectancy.
I wish they could come and tell me when I'm going to go also, since they know.
Yeah, they use the magic 8 ball.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Or I'll have some people that'll say, well, they'll go, I'm just going to go in the woods. And what? That's the Texas thing. I bet when I first got here, I still get it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk into the woods. And I'm like, what's going to happen? You know. I don't know. Will someone tell me? All right, Lance back on Monday. Have a great weekend. Sign up for a retirement income empowerment workshop live in the Woodlands, June 14th, 9 a.m. Thank you, young Will, for being in on the show
was a pleasure.
and providing some good input. Have a great weekend, everybody.